Before a man ever says, "I love you," his nervous system already has. Real love is not proven in sentences, it's revealed in patterns. Today, we're not looking at promises, we're looking at behavior that doesn't lie. Real love doesn't always speak in dramatic declarations. Sometimes it shows up quietly, in consistency, presence, small choices repeated over time. A man can say beautiful things and still remain emotionally absent. Another man may struggle with words, yet his actions tell you exactly where his heart lies. You don't have to guess. The body reveals what the mouth is afraid to say. You know he loves you when you become a consideration, not an afterthought. When he doesn't disappear when things get uncomfortable. When he chooses repair over ego, truth over convenience. Sometimes love is loud, but the love that lasts is usually quiet. It doesn't always arrive wrapped in perfect sentences or dramatic confessions. Often, it shows up in the smallest, most ordinary moments, so subtle that you only notice it when you finally stop chasing fireworks and start paying attention to presence. There was a woman who once told me, "He never says much. He's not poetic or expressive. But when life gets difficult, he doesn't leave." She said it in a confused way, as if she were describing something disappointing. What she didn't yet realize was this: some people learn to say, "I love you" with survival, not with words. If he truly loves you, you will feel it first in your nervous system, not as anxiety, not as obsession, but as a quiet exhale inside your chest. You will recognize it in the way he turns toward you when things are messy. Not only when you are pleasant and easy to love, you will see it in the way he doesn't punish you for being human. He doesn't need you to shrink yourself to remain lovable. Real love is not the performance of romance. It is the practice of responsibility. It shows up when he listens, not to win, not to defend, but to understand the world through your eyes for a moment. It's in the way he notices when something is wrong without you having to present a PowerPoint of your pain. It's in how he stays emotionally present, even when his own discomfort is activated. You will know he loves you when his choices consider you, even when you are not in the room. When he remembers the things that matter to you, not because he has a perfect memory, but because you exist in his inner world. He won't always love you perfectly. He will get it wrong. He will shut down sometimes. He will carry his own wounds into the space between you. But someone who loves you will return to the conversation, return to repair, return to the work of becoming safer to love. If you constantly have to beg for effort, explain why you deserve tenderness, or convince him that you matter, that is not your destiny calling. That is your wound speaking. Love doesn't make you disappear. It makes more of you welcome. And the deepest proof of love is not hidden in vocabulary or dramatic gestures. It is hidden in a very simple question. When life touches the most fragile parts of you, does he move closer or does he move away? He turns toward you in emotional moments, not away. That's one of the clearest signals you will ever get. When things get heavy, when your voice cracks, when your past pain rises up in the present, he doesn't disappear into his phone, into silence or into anger. He may not know exactly what to say, he may stumble, he may look a little uncomfortable, but he stays. He stays in the room, he stays in the conversation, he stays with you. That matters more than perfectly chosen words. Watch what happens in those raw moments when you're not easy to love. Maybe you're crying, maybe you're overwhelmed, maybe you're not your most charming self. Someone who is only in love with the pleasant version of you will pull away. He will change the topic, mock your feelings, or make you feel too much. But the man who truly cares will do something very simple and very powerful. He will lean closer, he'll say, "Talk to me," or he'll just sit beside you, quietly letting you know you're not alone. Even his silence feels like presence, not punishment. Turning toward you doesn't mean he becomes flawless in conflict. He might still shut down for a moment or need a breath. But after that pause, he comes back, he tries again, he asks what you need. He cares about what your pain is doing to you, not just what it's doing to the conversation. When you're hurting, he doesn't treat your emotions like an inconvenience he has to escape. He treats them like something important happening to someone important to him. Leaning in, imperfectly, is still leaning in. It won't look like movie scenes or scripted speeches. It might look like him making tea, checking in later, sending a message that says, "Are you okay? I'm thinking about you." It's the emotional posture that matters. He chooses closeness over avoidance, connection over withdrawal, presence over disappearance. Real love isn't proven when everything is calm. It reveals itself in the storm. And if, when the storm hits, he moves a little closer instead of further away, you're not guessing anymore. His actions have already answered the question you were afraid to ask. You feel safe, not anxious in his presence. That's one of the deepest, most honest signals your body can give you. Around him, you are not constantly scanning for danger, rehearsing your sentences, or predicting which version of him you're going to get today. Instead of tightening up, your shoulders drop, your breathing softens. You don't feel like you're walking through a minefield where one wrong word will explode the connection. You can simply exist, unedited, unperformed, and the relationship still feels intact. Safety isn't just about what he does, it's about what you no longer have to do. You no longer have to audition for love. You don't measure your worth in how well you avoid conflict or how quiet you can keep your needs. You're not constantly bracing yourself for withdrawal, mood swings, or sudden coldness. When you speak, even if you're emotional or clumsy with your words, you don't immediately fear punishment or abandonment. Deep down, you sense he's still there with you, even when things are uncomfortable. Your body tells you the truth long before your mind does. Anxiety around someone is often your nervous system saying, I don't feel held here. I don't feel predictable safety here. Real love won't make you feel like you're chasing, proving, or shrinking. It won't make you obsess over every text or replay every conversation to check if you were too much. Instead, there is a steadiness. You know he will not use your vulnerability as a weapon later. You know your feelings won't suddenly turn you into a burden in his eyes. Feeling safe doesn't mean you never argue. It means that even during conflict, some deeper part of you knows the connection isn't about to collapse. You can disagree without fearing disappearance. You can cry without feeling ashamed. You can say, that hurt me, without preparing yourself to be mocked or ignored. The relationship becomes a place where your nervous system can rest instead of constantly performing emotional self-defense. When you're with someone who truly cares, your body doesn't brace for the next emotional injury. It unclenches. It stops preparing for impact. It learns slowly, sometimes skeptically at first, that closeness doesn't have to hurt. And that quiet sense of safety, not the intensity, not the drama, not the roller coaster, is one of the clearest signs that love is real. He considers you in his decisions. That means you're not an afterthought he remembers when it's convenient. Can you live in his internal world even when you're not physically present? Your needs shape his choices not as a burden he tolerates, but as a responsibility he accepts willingly. He doesn't say, why should I change? He asks, how will this affect us? Love, when it's real, naturally becomes plural. Let me tell you a story. A woman once said, he never makes big romantic speeches, but he does something I can't explain. She told me about a moment that didn't look dramatic to anyone else. He had been invited on a weekend trip with friends. He wanted to go, he missed them. He needed the break. But their relationship had been going through a rough patch. Conversations felt fragile. Emotions were close to the surface. He didn't ask permission, and she didn't demand anything. Instead, he paused. He noticed her quietness, the tired look in her eyes, the unspoken fear that things between them were drifting. That night, he sat beside her and said, I can go, but I don't want to leave right now when things feel unfinished between us. You matter more to me than a trip. Let's use this weekend to reconnect. Not a performance, just a choice that revealed where his priorities actually lived. That is what it means to be considered. He's not perfect, nobody is. But before he says yes or no to something, he mentally places you into the equation. If he stays late at work, if he makes future plans, if he takes on something new, he thinks about how it will touch your life. Not because you control him, but because you're part of him. You exist in his inner conversation. You can feel the difference between being a responsibility resented and a responsibility embraced. When you're resented, your needs are labeled nagging, too much, or dramatic. When you're embraced, your needs are treated as signals from someone he loves. He listens even when it's inconvenient. He changes certain habits not because he's scared to lose you, but because he genuinely wants the relationship to feel safer and more alive for both of you. This doesn't mean he sacrifices himself or lives without boundaries. It means he moves from me thinking to we thinking. He doesn't simply ask, "Is this what I want?" He also asks, "Is this good for the relationship we are building?" Your happiness, your comfort, your emotional safety sit beside his own desires when he makes choices. And here's the truth: love is revealed not just in what a man feels, but in what he chooses. Anyone can say beautiful things, but if you find yourself present in his future plans, in his daily decisions, in the quiet calculations of his life, you're not just someone he likes being around. You're someone he has already woven into the fabric of his world. He protects your emotional reality, not just your physical presence. It's easy to protect someone from the rain or open a car door. It takes much more awareness to protect what lives inside their heart. When a man truly cares, he doesn't just stand beside you in public, he stands beside your feelings in private. Your inner world is not something he laughs at, debates away, or uses as ammunition when he's upset. Instead, he treats it as something living, delicate, and real. Notice how he responds when you finally say, "That hurt me." Does he roll his eyes, call you sensitive, or turn your pain into a joke? Or does he go quiet for a moment, really taking it in, realizing that your experience matters, even if it doesn't match his own? Protecting your emotional reality means he resists the urge to win the argument at the cost of your heart. He stops himself before throwing the sharp sentence that he knows would land like a knife. He doesn't weaponize your past, your trauma, or the secrets you shared in trust. It looks like him saying, "I didn't see it that way, but I see that it hurt you," instead of, "You're overreacting." It looks like him caring less about being right and more about how you're feeling right now. He doesn't police your emotions, label them dramatic, or rank which ones are acceptable. He understands that your internal world doesn't need cross-examination, it needs presence. There's a quiet kind of safety you feel around someone who treats your emotions as legitimate signals, not as malfunctions to be corrected. You become less afraid to speak. You don't rehearse your sentences in your head first. You don't carry the constant fear that your tears will be used against you later. Even when he disagrees with the story your mind tells, he respects the reality of what your body feels. And this is important. Protecting your emotional reality does not mean he agrees with everything you say. It means he refuses to invalidate your experience just to make the moment easier for himself. He can say, "I didn't intend to hurt you," while still acknowledging, "Oh, but it did hurt." He honors both truth and tenderness at the same time. When a man loves you, he understands that your feelings are not obstacles to get past, so the relationship can continue. They are part of the relationship itself. He doesn't just keep you safe from danger out there. He works to make sure you're not in danger in here, in the space between the two of you. That's when you realize something profound. Your emotions are not something you have to hide to remain loved. They are allowed to exist fully, and they are safe with him. Love is not proven by how loudly someone speaks it, but by how softly they hold your inner world. If you have spent years confusing intensity with love, chaos with passion, or anxiety with connection, it is understandable that calm love may feel unfamiliar at first. But the kind of love that heals does not rush you, silence you, or make you smaller. It makes room for you. When someone truly loves you, you don't have to fight to be believed or beg to be seen. You are not walking on emotional shards, afraid the next step will cut you. Instead, there is a steady presence beside you, even when life is messy, even when you are not your strongest or most composed. Real love doesn't rescue you from your feelings. It stays with you while you feel them. If you have known relationships where you were ignored, minimized, or blamed, give yourself compassion first. You learn to survive what you were given. Now you are learning to recognize what you deserve, and you deserve a love that does not hurt your nervous system to keep. So here is the quiet invitation: trust the signals of your body, the softening of your breath, the peace that asks for nothing in return. Trust the love that makes you feel more like yourself, not less. And remember, whether this person stays in your life or not, the most important relationship you will ever have is the one where you stop abandoning yourself. Healing begins the moment you realize this simple truth: love is not supposed to wound you to prove that it is real.